Shadow sitting on the roof. I drink on stove, less than 100 proof. Hand on toes, about the roast. Some kids who flash like they assassins. Pick up my dough and BK, this honey passion. Got the spot on lock. Taking flicks around the corner. She made it where this spot ain't hot like a potato. She got 5-0 on the payroll. It's slipping gayo. I don't know what to say, yo. Get it go. It's one of the stone. Dressed in black shit. Tell my they demeanor. They be hustling backwards.
Welcome to another edition of the Will Be Blood Fight Show. I'm your host, Dave Boyce. Talk about the showdown on Mexican Independence Weekend, September 13th, between CasaMaYoR versus Juan Manuel Marquez. Okay, this is a really interesting fight. To me, this is a great matchup between two great warriors, one out of Mexico, one out of Cuba. Alright, now let's dissect and find the keys of victory for each fighter in this particular bout here, okay? First, we're going to start off with CasaMaYoR. Okay, him already being a natural 135, he's been at that weight division a lot longer than Juan Manuel Marquez. Really, you're going to have to give him the bigger man stature than Marquez moving into this new division at 135, which he just left 130, facing Manny Pacquiao. Also, too, CasaMaYoR facing the much bigger oppositions in his career. You know, he's faced Jose Luis Castillo, he's faced Frites, he's faced Diego Corrales, and even knocked out Diego Corrales in the first fight, making the mouthpiece slip, pop right through the bottom of his lip, okay? Which the bout will stop on a 6th round. So really, facing bigger oppositions, it's going to have to be leaning towards CasaMaYoR. Now, in his last outings between Santa Cruz, it was a bore fest, okay? And a lot of folks, as myself and a lot of boxing fans, had really saw Santa Cruz walk away with that win. But somehow, the judges had it scored for CasaMaYoR, right? He combed his way into that victory, so that's why they call him El Sapio. Now, him really being an underrated puncher. You know, he's been really disrespected, I believe, in my opinion, throughout his whole career. He has always been credited for his boxing skills, but never really credited in how he sits on his punches now later on in his career. He's become a lot more a puncher than a finesse fighter. You know, I think the younger he was, the more able he was to keep up on his toes. But now he has much more of an understanding, being here in the States for quite some time now, being part of the freedom fighters, you know, out of Cuba, and an Olympian. Now he understands that in order to really grab the attentions of the fight fans and stuff, he's got to be able to produce some knockouts, and he had a great sensational fight with Michael Casillas, okay? Really, Casillas was walking in, the HBO analysts were all really talking about Casillas' power and really looking for the now new labeled Arturo Gatti fighter to kind of walk through CasaMaYoR. You know, Casillas being a much bigger guy and with a much bigger puncher. But as we saw in the first round of the fight, you know, CasaMaYoR was able to drop him and stop him on the 10th round, I believe, okay? So really his power has always been underrated. And I think, if anything, that's what's going to be really the tell of this fight, with him facing the much smaller guy, Marquez. Now, when I say smaller guy, really, because of the fact that Marquez's career has always been in the 122, 126, and 130. Now he's jumping up, facing one of the top dogs at the 135 division, all right? Now, CasaMaYoR, going into this match, really what he'd have to do is just fight like a much bigger man and use his great defense that he has. You know, he has a good southpaw stance, okay? But the only difference is a lot of folks are going to go like, yeah, but you know what? Marquez has faced Manny Pacquiao, who has the southpaw stance too, and is a lot faster. And that's true. But the only difference between CasaMaYoR and Pacquiao is CasaMaYoR is a lot more intelligent when it comes to defense, okay? He doesn't leave his chin out. He doesn't pull back. He uses angles, and he really uses his feet to get himself out of trouble, okay? Not just his hands and his head. He's really good at hard pivoting, and he's really good at rolling his shoulders out of the way of punches. And that's really what's kept CasaMaYoR in the game in such a long time, and really kept him up to float as one of the top 5 lightweight fighters to date, right? So him really walking down MarQueZ would really be the key way of maybe beating MarQueZ, you know, being able to slip in his straight left. Now, a straight left is really, I mean, it's got a lot of punch to it. And not only that, he's really got a good right hook, you know. He can really set you up with his nagging jab, and then he always has a way of sneaking it in. Now, remember, too, that he's the kind of fighter that would rough you up when he gets you in the inside, you know. He's a master at it. If the ref is on the right-hand side, he always able to, he'll hit the body here on the, at least on the below the belt, or, you know, he'll come back on top with a rabbit punch, okay? So you really look at him trying to put his weight, and you're going to look for that. He's really going to put his weight on MarQueZ to really weigh on him to kind of take out his legs underneath him, which would take out his balance. And if anybody knows, MarQuez's balance is the key of his boxing skills. You take out his balance, then he's pretty much just an ordinary fighter. And that's what CasaMaYoR's got to do. You know, he's got to just be CasaMaYoR, slip punches, not fall asleep during this fight. And I think he's not going to fall asleep in this fight. If anything, he's going to be really motivated because this is a big money fight for him to really kind of go after the big name fighters out there, you know, such as Pacquiao. Even though Pacquiao is facing Oscar De La Hoya, there's still a big possibility of him facing him. Or he gets to face Diaz. Okay, if Diaz can get through Michael Casillas. There's also Yohan Guzman, if Yohan Guzman can get past Nate Campbell. And there's always a rematch with Nate Campbell, if Nate Campbell can get past Yohan Guzman. So there's a lot of stake there for CasaMaYoR. And really, like I said, those are the keys for him. It's just to fight like the much bigger man because he's fought the bigger oppositions. Now, for Juan Manuel MarQueZ, MarQueZ really is just going to have to maybe fight a little bit more attentive in this fight, all right? He's going to have to be aware that CasaMaYoR is the much bigger and harder puncher in this fight, just like he's been aware of that when he faced Manny Pacquiao. You got to remember, MarQuez's corner is very intelligent. He's got Nacho Bernstein on his corner, so their fight plan is going to be pretty much well thought out and pretty much written down to a T, where they're not going to leave any I's undotted, and they're not going to leave any periods left out of every sentence that they're going to give CasaMaYoR. So what he's got to do is really box, okay? He's got to make CasaMaYoR become the aggressor. Now, CasaMaYoR really is not the aggressor in a lot of fights. And when he is the aggressor in fights, he gets himself in trouble because he has the tendency of dropping his hands, all right? And he has the tendency of rolling back with his hands down, and he likes to go side to side, pulling back out. And that's when MarQueZ can catch him, okay? MarQueZ can start throwing the hooks, and really, when he comes to a CasaMaYoR, his jab is going to kind of really hold MarQueZ back. But MarQueZ has just got to double up the left hook and then throw down straight down the pipe. Not to his chin, but to his chest. Because of the fact that CasaMaYoR has got such good head movement, his waist will always be there. So if he moves down to his right or to his left, MarQuez's right hand can clip him, okay, and possibly even hurt him and knock him out. That's to be said. Now, CasaMaYoR has been dropped, the same thing with MarQueZ. Now, with MarQueZ really being dropped by smaller men, he's got to be really careful facing CasaMaYoR. So he's got him box intelligent, and he's got to be able to not let CasaMaYoR tie him up and really try to outmuscle him and bang him up close and do the dirty tactics, okay? CasaMaYoR's hands, MarQuez's hands always are up or high. You know, he's a very well technician. You know, he does things by the book. So really look, too, for him to throw in his sneak left uppercut to kind of catch CasaMaYoR when CasaMaYoR is going to try to go to the body or get lazy. All right? Now, another thing that MarQueZ should look for is CasaMaYoR sometimes likes to walk away from punches, meaning that after he's done with his flurry, he turns, looks this way, and walks away. So that's a perfect time for MarQueZ to really jump out, cut the ring, double that left hook, and catch him. Okay, where his hands are down and he's walking away. Right? Not only would he be able to catch him, but it would also make him look good in front of judges, seeing that he's the aggressor, being a much smaller man, moving up from 130 to 135. Those are the keys. Now remember, this is a debating show, guys. Okay, there's no reason to get upset about each other's nationalities and get nasty about it. This is a show for strictly boxing fans. If you're not a boxing fan and you just tune in because you're a fighter, then you better just get off the show now and stuff and not even listen to what I gotta say or listen to what anybody else's comments are. Because like I said, this is a boxing show and this is a show for debating. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm your host Dave Duenas, and those are the keys that I believe for each one of those fighters to win for victory.